The people within Russia can't see the reality of what is going on. But the amazing journalists we have there on the ground, including those from CNN, they are providing what is really going on to the West. They are showing us the reality. I want to ask you about these kidnappings, these alleged kidnappings that have happened. Ukrainian officials say that 2 mayors of different towns there in Ukraine have been kidnapped. What do you think that the tactic is there for the Russians?
It's a way to try to pick off the strong men, to pick off those who are standing up to Russia. And if they can convince them to bring the people onto the Russian point of view, onto Russia's side, then that's a more bloodless way of taking over the country. Mariupol, it seems, was a place that they couldn't convince people. They couldn't convince the mayor, so they disappeared him. But they're making an example by smashing it to the ground to the rest of the country. And that could help either make people surrender or make them leave other contested cities.
Before we let you go, I've got to ask you about these Russian media reports that Ramzan Kadyrov, the leader of Russia's Chechnya region and a major ally of Vladimir Putin, has been speaking to Russian troops in Ukraine, telling them that the big objective is to take control of Kyiv. What are we to make of that?
That they're bringing in their big guns to try to inspire their troops who've taken some heavy losses and have been, by all reports, beset with poor morale because of it. But that could also be a way of messaging to the rest of Ukraine. Watch out, now we've brought the Chechens in. It's only going to get worse and more bloody from here. Stop your fighting. Right.
They have been known to be just brutal in their tactics as well. All right, Kimberly Dozier, as always, thank you for your analysis on this.
Thank you.
And we have this news just into CNN. Police in New York are offering a $10,000 reward for information that helps nab the person who shot 2 men Saturday. One of them died. Authorities say the victims were apparently homeless and sleeping on the streets of Lower Manhattan when they were shot about 90 minutes apart. Police hope surveillance video will help lead to an arrest. Mayor Eric Adams called the crimes a horrific intentional act. And still to come, bipartisan pressure growing tonight to give Ukraine more direct military air support.
I think we ought to use every tool that we have to keep Ukraine in the fight and to secure its airspace, including jet fighters.
We're going to discuss if that might start a broader war between Russia and NATO. Also ahead this hour, I'll speak to a surgeon making how-to videos to help Ukrainians treat traumatic injuries. You're in the CNN Newsroom. We'll be right back.
We all stand together and we're highly motivated to defend our country because this is our home. That's where our children were going to school. That's where our relatives buried in the ground. This is our home, and there is no other way that we're gonna live. And why? Because this is our home. So we will defend the country until last drop of the blood.
And regarding how much time we have a lot of time. We never lose the fight for our homes, for our future, because whole population against Russian aggressors.
That was Kyiv's mayor and his brother, who is a former heavyweight boxing champion and now a member of the Kyiv Territorial Defense. Both spoke earlier today with Dana Bash on CNN's State of the Union, proving the battle for the heart of Ukraine is a family affair. Well, Ukraine's civilian army is getting medical assistance from far away, really far away, thanks to YouTube videos from a Ukrainian-American oncology surgeon here in the United States. Dr. Nelia Melnichuk is offering a tutorial in Ukrainian that shares the ABCs of stopping the bleed.
Доброго дня. Ви можете врятувати життя. Наша мета сьогодні дій можна запам'ятати як ABC. A означає alert, оповіщення.
And Dr. Nelia Melnichuk joins me now. Doctor, first of all, before we get into these videos, do you have friends and relatives in harm's way right now?
We do. We have lots of friends in Ukraine and relatives as well. My husband's parents, my in-laws are in Ukraine. His brother is, my aunt, uncles, cousins. We have lots of family in Ukraine.
Wow, that is a lot of family members there. You say that a text message from your aunt inspired you to share your medical skills with Ukrainians who are caught up in this unwanted war. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, that's how we actually found out that the war has started. We got a text message from my aunt, and we were all together with my mom and dad. It was school vacation actually, and that's turned on TV right away and learned of Russian invasion into Ukraine. And we just started thinking right away of what we can do to help. We already have been doing work in Ukraine on educating physicians and lay people on cancer care. So we decided to transform the platform and our work into educating on trauma care and especially stop the bleed for civilians.
That's amazing. I know so many people are wanting to help do something, and this is just such a wonderful, unique way to help so many Ukrainians who are right now in the middle of a war zone, having relatives, loved ones who are severely injured because of the Russian offensive there. This is the kind of information all of us should have about stopping a major bleed. Have you heard from anyone in Ukraine telling you that they have been able to put your advice to work?
I actually haven't yet. We are spreading the information. We are asking everybody to share via social media or any other network that's available. I haven't heard anything from Ukraine. I would love to hear if this is useful or not, but so far we're just disseminating the videos and hopefully it can save at least one life.
And so many Ukrainians have fled major cities. They are trying to survive now in more rural areas. They may be lacking even the most routine medical care right now. Are you going to share any other videos offering advice that might help people survive in these circumstances?
We are working on educating physicians or surgeons like me who are cancer surgeons in their regular lives who are now have to do trauma care. So we are providing them education on ATLS, which is Advanced Trauma Life Support. We are translating that into Ukrainian, and we are very grateful of American College of Surgery to providing us that information. We are also working on education on burn care, and we will work actually on educating civilians and lay people on what to do during nuclear attack and chemical attacks, unfortunately.
As a Ukrainian American, how difficult is it for you to watch your fellow Ukrainians under attack like this, suffering so much?
It is very difficult. I am angry and sad at the same time, and also feel very guilty that I'm here and not there, and also feel useless and wish I could do more. And at the same time, I feel I understand that I'm in a very privileged situation. I'm safe here, and nobody is attacking my home, nobody is attacking my children. But I really wish I can do more and feel very bad for what's going on.
Well, you're certainly not useless. I mean, these videos are such an important way to help Ukrainians in the fight. And I know how difficult this is for you, and you talked about it, but it also must be inspiring to see how your fellow Ukrainians are fighting back against the Russians, and just the spirit and the will.
I am very, very impressed with every single Ukrainian. Everybody is doing their job. Everybody is trying to contribute. Ukrainian soldiers are fighting, and a lot of countries, a lot of people were underestimating of what Ukraine can do, and Ukraine is showing the whole world what we can do. So very, very proud of my country.
Yeah, there was video that we showed earlier where their Ukrainians were out protesting on the streets in Ukraine, right next to Russian soldiers who were, one of the Russian soldiers was firing off his gun, and they didn't even flinch. They just kept on protesting. It takes a lot of courage to do what they are doing. Dr. Nelia Melnichuk, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pamela.
And to help humanitarian efforts in Ukraine, go to CNN.com/impact. At last check, CNN viewers like you have helped raise nearly $5 million to help in Ukraine and neighboring countries with shelter, food, water, and other needs. And breaking news into CNN right now, shock announcement just coming in. Tom Brady says he will return to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next season. Didn't we just talk about how he was retiring? Guess he's coming back now. That story is up next. Breaking news right now, just into CNN, a surprise word from the NFL that the GOAT is coming back. Tom Brady could only step away from the NFL for a month and a half before announcing his return, his unretirement, shall we say, on Twitter. He writes, "These past 2 months, I've realized my place is still on the field and not in the stands. That time will come, but it's not now. I love my teammates and I love my supportive family. They all make it possible. They make it all possible. I'm coming back for my 23rd season in Tampa." Joining me now is sports analyst Christine Brennan. Christine, wow.
Exactly, Pamela. Stunning news. And of course, this is the night of March Madness, the men's and women's brackets. And if there's one person on earth who could steal the thunder and the headlines from March Madness, it would be Tom Brady. This is a huge surprise. He just retired. It was just right before the Olympics. It was end of January, so not even 2 months. And now he says he's coming back. In some ways, this is predictable because most athletes, Pamela, you certainly know the sports world, that they find there's nothing as they start thinking about their life in retirement. There's nothing that can compare, nothing at all to their life as an athlete, just that rush, that adrenaline rush, unlike anything else. But this is really quick, and it leads to a lot of questions about the stops and starts of that announcement back in January. Remember, it was breaking, then it wasn't, and maybe he wasn't all in on that back in January, but it certainly sounds like he's all in on it now.
Yeah, he certainly clearly wasn't satisfied with the decision he made and is being pulled right back to the field. You know, I had wondered too that he retired back in February 1st when he announced it. They almost made it to the Super Bowl, but not quite, right? And it kind of made me wonder, is he really okay with leaving on that note, not having another Super Bowl win, another notch on his belt? So are the Bucs now favorites for the Super Bowl?
They certainly are, right up there with the Green Bay Packers, of course, who are bringing back Aaron Rodgers. There's, a bunch of old guys out there now who are still leading the charge. I mean, Brady is 44. Not old in real life, but certainly old in football years. He'll be 45 in August. But yes, absolutely. He is the most watchable player there is. He is the one who has done more than any other. He's the greatest of all time in the NFL. And for him to come back, it's a shot in the arm, obviously, for his team, Tampa Bay. It's a shot in the arm for the league. It energizes everyone again. It creates a whole new storyline, this kind of crazy, he's gone, now he's back. And I think, the NFL, leadership of the NFL, the front office of the NFL, Roger Goodell and company have to be doing cartwheels. They have to be loving it. Of course, Tampa Bay has to be loving it. And you know what? Who doesn't love this storyline? I mean,
totally.
It's a little weird, right? It's a little weird. It's bizarre. I mean, this is not a young guy just going, he's been around a while. He knew what he was doing in February, but obviously, whatever it was, he said he wants to come back. This is not the time to retire, and more power to him. And it makes for a fantastic storyline come this fall in the NFL.
Totally, and I respect that. Look, I mean, just because he said he was going to retire and he clearly didn't sit well with him, why not come back out and say, look, I'm not actually retiring. I belong in the field. It is an incredible storyline. Christine Brennan, thanks so much.
Thank you, Pamela.
You're in the CNN newsroom. Up next, I'm going to ask Congressman Brendan Boyle if the Biden administration needs to reverse course and help send fighter jets to Ukraine. We'll be right back.